Hi, Freely. What are you doing here?
I have right to do this.
Yeah, I also have the right to arrest you. Put your hand in your back. Don't try to move. Okay. Okay, come with me.
In today's news, embarrassment for a museum. Museum exhibiting graffiti. Turns out the museum's walls have actually been tagged, causing outrage and debate, public debate. Day 2.
Today I hear a lawmaker will interview one of my criminals. Is that you?
Yeah, so if you want to take a seat, probably easy to see this news. As you know, I'm a policy maker, and we've been talking about the policy. Sorry?
What's your name?
My name is Rob.
My name is Alice.
Yeah, I know what's your name.
So I'm working for local authority.
So I'm a policy maker. I'm looking at the policy around graffiti, and we've had a lot of problems around this at the moment. So we've actually staged this whole scenario because we wanted to spark debate and try and open your mind more to the problems around graffiti and the solutions outside of just simple legislation as a crime. And we just wanted to show the power of this debate, hopefully. So we've got 100,000 Facebook likes on the topic, 75,000 retweets, and it's been made 9 headlines.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you're a prevention officer, so you correctly arrested Alice. What do you think of this?
In my opinion, I have to say, and that action, is totally illegal, and this action needs to be punished. But personally, I agree with you because this action has become a spotlight. A lot of people to focus pay attention on it. But I think in the future, we should develop some and change some appropriate law to fix this mistake. But actually, do you know the government spends a lot of money to fix this mistake?
Yeah, I'm sorry for causing you the.
Yeah, of course. It's my responsibility to. Yeah, it's my because my boss. If I found someone make some the graffiti on the street, I have to arrest him. It's my responsibility.
Sure,
right?
Sure, we understand that.
But you're right.
We were trying to provoke thought, and we were trying to get you to empathise with the fact that it's not as simple as just legislation. It's the problem's bigger than that.
Counterbalance, right?
Yeah. So, that's it.
Alright, thanks for that. For me, the design, if I understood it right, was my reading of that was you giving us a demonstration of your design, and the design was the app and the interaction around the app that basically told so you're the person that didn't have enough empathy, is that right? For the appreciation of others for graffiti.
It wasn't an app.
What was it?
No, sorry. It was more, so we staged this whole tagging deliberately to provoke or invoke a media frenzy to try and prove to the, what's your crime prevention officer?
Correct.
The fact that it's not a simple solution using legislation, because I'm the policy maker, it's the problem. The solution is going to be a lot bigger, so instead of coming up with a solution, we'll try and create a debate, prove to the importance of debate.
It's an agony.
So the debate came through that, didn't it? That was when you got out your bit of paper with all of this is what the world thinks. So this is what you think and this is what the law thinks. But this is what the world thinks. So now what do you think? Is that what happened? Is that what went down there?
Yeah, I mean, it's what you've designed is a performed piece.
Yeah.
So there's, for me, I like what you've communicated through the performance, but as a design response, it's a little bit confused. I think perhaps the other group for me worked a bit harder on trying to say this is how for us it works as a design response.
But if you had designed an app, so like a publicity stunt is not a piece of design. It's not, you know, it can be, but it's not particularly a design piece. So I think what Adam was alluding to is that mostly graffiti never asks you what you like, it asks you what you don't like. And I thought that by being told that other people liked it, it would ask you or enable you as a police officer, crime prevention, not law prevention, a crime prevention police officer, to have empathy with the other side. But I didn't get on.
For me, they design a campaign. It's a campaign for...
Right.
It's a campaign,
it's a campaign for graffiti.
All right.
I think that's
really
design agitation. It's design agitation.
So trying to provoke thought.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I think was missing in some of the pieces, is that like positioning it. Okay, our piece is a campaign. Our piece is a.
So if we were talking about is like the three transformation tools that Adam's introduced earlier, this may be more appropriately discussed and talked about as a critical piece of critical design, challenging hegemony through exposing sort of the ridiculousness in hegemony, because the populace wants this. We appreciate this. We all think it's ridiculous. Why is there still law? So it gives voice to the community that's unheard. So critical or design activism or like agitprop or there's an activist and it's not building empathy between the stakeholders.
In 2 hours, that's pretty, you know, it's great that you come up with something, you know, so it's not criticising, but in terms of the brief, a couple of you have really got the brief to the heart of it, and it's a really impossible brief, so well done for doing it. But I do think that if you were to develop it, I'd say what is the empathy, what is the design strategy,
But in the context of sort of social responsive design and design for social innovation, you're engaging the concerns, and the sort of the things at play, the politics, so you know that's.
There's something really interesting going on there. I can't quite put my finger on, and it's about the lawmaker being very confident, or the enforcer being very confident in the fact that they are enforcing the law, as though the law is the will of the people.
Yeah, because you have to follow the law. Yeah.
So there's this thing about the will of the people, and there's this thing about I'm confident in my position because I'm confident I represent the will of the people because the law is the will of the people, and I take this action. And then you're confronted, for me that's why it's like the moment, if you like, the moment is when the will of the people is questioned, you know, and it is in the moment that you pull out that piece of paper for me, because I understand that you set it up to arrive at this moment, and maybe I'm just giving you an interpretation. There's something really interesting there about this shift in sort of where the popular will is, and the exposure, you know, the mechanism, the design that exposes that grants that moment where actually you're left sort of going, well, I was very confident I was doing what I was meant to be doing, but actually maybe I'm not.
But the officer, you know, if you take the local boy was chased by the police and killed on his bike, and I've been approached by the family to help facilitate some street art locally for the Justice for Henry campaign, right? And I have mixed feelings about all of it, and I obviously will introduce you to some street artists, but the reality is that I don't believe the police officers who chased him could ever admit that they were wrong, because actually that they've got all sorts of things riding on it, like their jobs. And so in terms of the strategy, you know, are you asking him personally as a police officer to have empathy, or you are asking the symbolic badge to have empathy? Because if so, it's a very difficult one. It's about power,
I guess it's more
power
like
and politics.
If he was a director, he'd probably have a team, and then he'd have influence to provoke debate and thinking within his team. But it's not simply.
But for 2 hours, that is good. I get the gist of what you're trying to do. But what I was saying is that in terms of a campaign, you'd have to really develop, particularly a media campaign.
I just think about something that could be totally linked to a training for policemen officers.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
Because they sure that they are in their law, but actually it's reversed. It's free, and they realize that it was not that they felt. So every time they have a different point of view, and when they are arrested somebody, maybe they can be more empathic because they experienced one time.
Yeah, it's more agile thinking.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a really
that's
astute
it.
observation. When we've done this stuff in the past, over longer periods of time, we did one recently between where we had designers working with long-term unemployed people in residence, so job seekers, and local employers. Because research had demonstrated through the employment and growth team at the local council that actually economic opportunities people felt the economic opportunities weren't there. But the employers are saying, well, we're giving people a chance, and the job seekers are saying, well, don't feel like it. So we needed to, so we did an exercise like this over a 3 to 6 month period, involving all the people in the co-design workshops. And where many of the outcomes ended up were these sort of tools that tools that when you interacted with them were used as training aids for HR departments. So actually, the HR of the organisation would understand a bit more what it's like for a person to be going through. And one of the things you need to do with this sort of work is control the context. So the fact that you position it as a training activity, you're really controlling the context in which it goes down in. And that's absolutely around this sort of socio-material interaction stuff. Trying to control and define and design the context is a big part of it.
And it would change the officer's ability to experience the information, because when we did the big graffiti sessions expo at South Bank, I introduced Colin Sacer, who's and there were these guys from the audience, and they say, you put us into prison. We paint walls, you put us in prison with sex offenders and murderers. Like, how could you do that? And he was really I was doing my job, you didn't have permission, you broke the law. But it was really hard to... I was really hard, I was really emotional. So just, how could he put them in prison? But that's obviously how in public he would make sense of it. Do you see what I mean? So I wondered, but I think that all the things that have come out are great too.
Yeah, so no, thank you for that.